Welcome to the Sleeper Dynasty Fantasy Football Podcast. I'm your host, Brandon Lehman. Thanks for tuning in. Please take a quick second to leave a 5-star rating and review, and make sure to subscribe so that you're notified when we release new episodes. It really helps us a lot, and it's a great way to support the show. Also, please follow us on X, Instagram, TikTok, and YouTube at Sleeper Dynasty. Let's dive in. Today we have Marvin Harrison Jr. versus Malik Nabers. So I'm just going to go ahead and get it out of the way. What we're talking about today is not who is going first in the NFL draft or even who the better prospect is. We're talking about who the better dynasty fantasy football asset is. We want to know two things. Who's going to have more value after their rookie season and who's going to have more fantasy points. Now, don't get me wrong. The NFL draft can affect how we project fantasy points for rookies. But at the moment, both of these rookies are trending to go in the top 5 of the NFL draft. According to the NFL mock draft database, Marvin Harrison Jr. is projected to go number 4 overall to the Arizona Cardinals. And Malik Nabers falls off the board just 1 pick later to the Los Angeles Chargers. I don't really see their draft capital drastically changing that much, but in a deep wide receiver class, these are the guys you want. All right, Marvin Harrison Jr., also known as Maserati Marv, from wide receiver U, the Ohio State University. First thing I want to do is talk about the latest news surrounding Marv. So this clip that I'm about to play is from Marvin Harrison Sr. when asked by ESPN's reporter Matt Miller asking about the process that Marv Jr. has been putting in since the end of the college regular season. Take a listen.
I think the big question, we haven't heard from you guys the last couple months as the NFL draft heats up. What has the process been like since the season ended, since we last saw Marvin play?
It's been a very restful process. It's something we took into consideration from day one, which was, how are we going to prepare for the 2024 NFL season? And I sat down, talked to Junior. I said, listen, we can do one of two things. You can put yourself in the realm of an NFL player now and prepare for the future, or you can get ready to do things that everyone else is doing. And when I explained it to him, we said that, look, when you're a rookie coming in this league, and after you've been playing 3 or 4 years of college football, it's kind of tough to maintain and be strong and have a great, rookie season. So I said, if we just rest, just like every other player or NFL receiver is doing right now in January and February, I think it'll, pay off more for you later on down the line.
And Marvin Jr., what has this been like for you? What have you been doing to stay ready and prepare for your NFL career?
I've been in Columbus with my same trainers I've been working out with my whole college career. Just getting stronger, faster, and like my dad said, resting a lot too. So it's been a very fun process though.
So I think the wisdom in this kind of preparation for the NFL is just makes him an even better prospect, in my opinion. With that being said, it does sound like his dad has a huge impact on Marv. And this, could be a good thing for the wisdom, obviously, but it also sounds like his dad kind of speaks for him in a way. I am slightly concerned if Marv has the passion for the game or if he's just trying to please his Hall of Fame dad. This really doesn't matter, though. I'm just picking at straws. His profile is already so perfect. I'm just trying to play devil's advocate as much as I can. In my opinion, any concerns about Junior not running the 40 in the NFL Combine or his pro day have kind of been put to bed. So let's get into his profile. He is originally from Philly, 21 years old. He's 6'3", 209 pounds. And like we said, he didn't participate in the NFL Combine, but he previously ran a 4.39 40. So Marvin Harrison was from St. Joseph's Prep High School and was handed a 4-star grade from ESPN out of high school, as well as a 4-star grade from 24/7 Sports. As we talked about before, he has the ideal bloodline since his dad was a Hall of Famer. His dad had a 13-year career in the NFL, all with the Indianapolis Colts. He caught 1,100 passes for almost 15,000 yards and scored 128 touchdowns during his time in the NFL. So back to Marvin Harrison Jr. He made Bruce Feldman's freak list at number 2, and this is what Bruce Feldman had to say about him. At 6'4", 208, the son of a Pro Football Hall of Fame receiver is remarkably gifted. He has everything. He's very strong. He bench presses 380 pounds and did 20 reps of 225 pounds on bench and squatted 500 pounds. He's very explosive, having broad jumped 10 feet 8, and he's really sudden, having clocked a 3.94 in the shuttle and improved on his max velocity from last year, up to 23.5 miles per hour. Asked for what training results he's the most proud of, he said it's his 5.10.5, given his height and weight, and yet he can still run a sub-4 second time. Guys, I don't know how many of you guys hit the gym, but 380 pounds for a guy like that is incredible. And squatting 500 pounds, also insane. I mean, the athleticism of this guy and the work ethic to get to that point is incredible, in my opinion. I really think what we're looking at here from a size and athleticism standpoint hasn't been seen as a prospect in a while. I mean, you've had guys come out that are big, but not as physically imposing as this. Let's get into some of his awards that he's won, because there's a lot of them. He was the 2021 OSU Scholar Athlete, had a Rose Bowl record-tying 3 touchdown receptions, and he was Ohio State's first unanimous All-American wide receiver ever. He was the 2022 Blitnikoff Award finalist, and in 2023, he finally took it home. I think if we're talking about trying to find a weakness in Marvin Harrison Jr.'s game, the only one that I can think of from watching the film is just that he goes down easy. He's not really the sort of yak guy, and I think I'm not the only one who thinks. I think everybody is saying that. Like, he's not a guy who's going to get a lot of yards after the catch. I don't really think that matters in his case, because I think the amount of yards he's going to get before that anyway is going to make him extremely fantasy relevant. He doesn't need the yak. And to be honest with you, he also has that big play upside. Like, if he breaks away, he's going for a touchdown. You know what I'm saying? Like, or if he doesn't have anybody that is in the vicinity whenever he catches the ball, he's gone. So, I mean, he's a home run guy. Saying that he doesn't break tackles in college doesn't mean we just talked about his athleticism. I mean, he's fully capable of adding that to his game, in my opinion. So even with that knock, it's really like I said earlier, picking at straws, just trying to find something. He is a can't miss prospect. And I know we're going to be rolling the tapes when he doesn't work out, but I'm serious. He is a can't miss prospect, and he is destined for stardom in the NFL. So let's talk about his stats. In 2021, he had 11 receptions for 139 yards and 3 touchdowns. Not great. But in 2022, he broke out. He had 77 receptions for 1,263 yards and 14 touchdowns. He was averaging 16.4 yards a catch. Absolutely insane. And then in 2023, he had 67 receptions for 1,211 yards and 14 touchdowns. He also had a rushing touchdown in 2023. I mean, it's an incredible profile, honestly. To be honest, I see absolutely no flaws in Marvin Harrison Jr.'s game. And it's kind of hard to see a reality where he doesn't work out in the NFL. We've seen so many great wide receivers come out of Ohio State and be successful in the NFL. And I think Marvin Harrison Jr. is the best prospect out of all of them. The only school that's had probably more success than Ohio State is probably LSU, which leads us to our next blue chip rookie prospect, Malik Nabers. He is 20 years old from Youngsville, Louisiana, 6 foot, 200 pounds. He also didn't participate in the NFL Combine, but he has previously run a 4.4 40 time. He was a 4-star recruit coming out of high school by 24/7 Sports, and ESPN didn't like him as much, put him as a 3-star. Over his career, he recorded a total of 186 receptions for 2,983 receiving yards and 21 touchdowns. His standout 2023 season earned him several awards. First of those being awarded as a finalist for the Fred Biletnikoff Award. He was also nominated to the first team All-SEC team, and he was named the MVP of the 2023 Citrus Bowl. His freshman year performance also earned him a spot on the All-SEC freshman team in 2021. And one of the weird facts that I found about him was that he was also on Bruce Feldman's freak list. Now, he wasn't at 2, he was at number 33. And this is what Bruce Feldman had to say about him. He wrote the 6 foot, 201 pound junior measured at 101 RSI mod, reactive strength. That's the reactive strength index modified. This essentially describes Nabers' ability to complete his max vertical jump at a very fast rate. So along with having a vertical leap of almost 40 inches, he can reach that feat faster than anyone on the team. Nabers also produced, listen to this, 2,700 watts peak power on power clean, which is remarkable for a skill player. Now, guys, I don't understand how that's even measured, and I don't even understand why it's measured. But apparently, the man has 2,700 watts when he's producing a power clean. If somebody can explain that to me, I mean, it sounds really impressive, but I mean, 2,700 watts, Malik Nabers. Moving on. After watching the film, I'd say he's an explosive route runner and extremely shifty. He's going to be a problem for guys in the NFL. And unlike Marvin Harrison Jr., he does have great yak ability. And people have also compared him to Deebo Samuel a bit on that end. He has it. He can get those yards after the catch in a way that Marvin Harrison Jr. fails to. The only weakness I saw in his film was that his route tree just needs more branches. I mean, I think that that's something that can be coached and he can add to his game. So, I mean, for both guys, really, it's the weakness is we're just picking at straws. At the end of the day, Nabers has the tools to grow into a dynamic NFL wide receiver and put up some serious numbers in the NFL. Looking at his stats, in 2021, he had 28 receptions for 417 yards and 4 touchdowns. In 2022, he had 72 receptions for 1,017 yards and 3 touchdowns. So touchdowns were hard to come by for him those 2 years. But in 2023, 89 receptions for 1,569 yards and 14 touchdowns. My God, he could not be stopped this past year. He averaged 17.6 yards a catch. He was burning people, guys. I mean, I don't know. That's what the stats tell me. I mean, as far as like just looking at stats, it seems like not only is he comparable to Marvin Harrison, but obviously 2023, he just torched the earth. I mean, he had a fantastic 2023 season. That's why we're talking about him right now, really. So in my opinion, minus the NFL Hall of Fame wide receiver dad, Malik Nabers has just as an impressive profile as Marvin Harrison Jr. But the question is, how do we decide between the two of them? I don't think you can make a wrong decision there. I really think it just comes down to your personal preference, who you like better, and after watching their film, who you like better, whose style you like better. Yeah, I mean, maybe you like the yakability of Malik Nabers more than Marvin Harrison, or maybe you like the elite route running better for Marvin Harrison. If it's me, though, I'm looking at it from an asset perspective, right? That's what we care about here in Dynasty. Marvin Harrison Jr.'s name value in itself is already so high. And when he goes at number 4, it's just going to get higher, in my opinion. Marv seems like a safer pick. Now, they both had eerily similar percentages of total team receiving yards at 35% for Marv and 36% for Nabers in 2023. I think the largest difference in 2023 was the percentage of total team touchdowns. Marvin Harrison Jr. had 54% of the team's receiving touchdowns, while Nabers had 32%, which is still crazy. I mean, 32% is still crazy, guys, but 54%, this is the determining factor for me as far as looking at it from an asset perspective. The dominance of both prospects is unquestioned. But what Marvin Harrison Jr. did last season when experiencing press and double coverage is what makes him my wide receiver 1. I'm not here to make a hot take, but I did just want to show how close these prospects are and why Malik Nabers should be in the same tier of prospect. And it wouldn't surprise me if Malik Nabers finishes his rookie season better than Marvin Harrison Jr. Both of them absolutely dominated in college, and I think should contribute immediately in the NFL. Especially if they have Kyler Murray and Justin Herbert throwing them the ball. Just imagine that for a second, guys. Just imagine Kyler Murray and Marvin Harrison Jr. and Justin Herbert and Malik Nabers. I mean, then you know why the Chargers got rid of Keenan Allen and Mike Williams, right? It's like, we're all just going to be like, yeah. I mean, they were all in on Malik Nabers. Who the hell wouldn't be? I think what this process showed me more than anything is just to look at them from a tier perspective and have them in the same tier, because, you know, it's not hot takey to say Marvin Harrison Jr. is my wide receiver 1. I think that's what everybody is saying right now. But I think where it gets kind of interesting is where you're looking at these guys go on underdog, and you have Marvin Harrison Jr. going as a top 10 wide receiver. Malik Nabers is at wide receiver 23. Bit of a difference there. And I'd tell you who I'd rather take for the value is Malik Nabers. I've seen Malik Nabers drop to, I think the 106 in a draft I just did in a real, not mock, a real rookie draft. And if that's where you're able to get him, I mean, I think the value that we're looking at here is that Malik Nabers, you can get him for such a value compared to Marvin Harrison Jr. Marvin Harrison Jr., you're going to have to pay up with the 101. You're going to have to get him with the 101, the 102. But Malik Nabers is just, I mean, scoop him up. He's basically Marvin Harrison Jr. I mean, they are literally, if it wasn't for Marvin Harrison Jr. coming out this year, Malik Nabers would be called Jamar Chase. I mean, everybody would be saying like, dude, this guy is as much of a blue chip guy as Jamar Chase, because he is, guys. He is. And maybe, you can disagree, or even, you guys probably notice I left Rome Odunze out of this tier. We'll get to him later, but I mean, he's a guy. Just know that. He's a guy. That's going to wrap it up for today's pod. Thank you guys so much for listening and tuning in. Please remember to leave a rating and review if you haven't already. Just take a second. Takes 2 seconds, guys. It really helps us out, helps us going. It's going to encourage me to continue doing this podcast. Also, make sure to follow us on X, Instagram, TikTok, and YouTube at Sleeper Dynasty. Peace.